Now, the importance of a realistic plan for the governance of Gaza once the war is over. That is what's being discussed by Israel's Defense Minister, Yoav Gallant, as he's met with the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken and other high-ranking American officials in Washington. It comes as the US rejects accusations as well from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that US military aid to Israel has declined. Well, let's hear it first of all from Gallant.
From a security perspective, there's nothing more important for the future of the State of Israel, apart from the IDF, than its relationship with the US.
Well, we're going to discuss the latest then with our international affairs commentator, Douglas Herbert. Douglas, Yoav Gallant, he has met with the CIA director, William Burns. He's met with Antony Blinken, as we said. He's met with the Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, before meeting National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. It's a pretty A-list of senior officials, isn't it? I mean, what is he trying to get from who?
Who wants what from whom? Well, this mission, Israeli news outlets, Stuart, have been calling this Yoav Gallant mission to Washington. Gallant goes to Washington, a reconciliation mission. And what do they mean by that? There are so many strains right now. Where do you even start? In that historically very close U.S.-Israeli relationship. You're not supposed to get closer, but they've been very much under strain. What Gallant's there basically to do, and he's actually been quoted by one of Israel's leading left-wing newspapers, Haaretz, as saying he has told Antony Blinken, we need to quickly resolve the issues dividing us because the world is watching and we cannot be seen as being at loggerheads with one another. I was paraphrasing some of that, but the essence is there's a sense right now, everyone's looking on and seeing a lot of rifts in that relationship. Rifts over things like the ceasefire. When's it going to happen? Is Israel on board with supposedly what was its own proposal, right? That was outlined by Joe Biden last month. But since then, mixed signals, it seems, from Israel on how far it will go on a ceasefire. Will it just be temporary? The release of those hostages. What you just mentioned in the introduction, which is the governance and the security and the reconstruction of Gaza the day after Hamas. That is what happens in the post-war period. Who has authority? For now, the Israelis say that they are going to, at least Netanyahu maintains, Israel will be maintaining security control. One of the aspects of those talks, perhaps behind the scenes, we can't confirm anything, is are they trying to discuss some arrangement for that post-Hamas control? Who will it be? The UN, Arab nations, whatever. We don't know yet. And finally, and this might be one of the biggest emerging issues, is Netanyahu saying that the intensive phase of the war is set to end soon. That is, that in Rafah, they're winding down their operations, all but obliterating Hamas as a military, a fighting entity there, but ready to move its troops to the northern border with Lebanon, Israel's northern border, where you have escalating skirmishes with Hezbollah. Hezbollah waiting in the wings there, the powerful Iran-backed militia there, even more formidable as an adversary than Hamas. So many things on the table and a lot of space between the U.S. and Israel on these issues.
So many things on the table, and then Netanyahu adds another one, doesn't he? Talking about the U.S. holding up arms shipments to Israel. He's not making it easy for Yoav Gallant, is he?
No, he is not making it easy, even if some of those things have to be sort of patched over, smoothed over for diplomatic niceties. What is being said behind the scenes? Beyond what Netanyahu has very publicly been saying in the past week about these accusations that the U.S. has delayed the shipments, Biden administration reacting with perplexity, saying we haven't done anything of the sort. They don't quite understand. Yes, Washington had paused the delivery of these so-called massive bombs, these 2,000-pound bombs that, in the U.S. view, weren't perhaps being used with pinpoint precision, and there was a lot of loss of civilian life as a result. So, that they've been giving some hard second thoughts to resuming shipments of. But on the other shipments, they're still flowing, and that's one of the big issues right now. In fact, Biden's biggest critics say that for all of your harsh talk and all of the supposed leverage that you're supposed to bring to bear in Israel, the arms are still flowing. So when Washington hears these remarks from Netanyahu, the arms aren't coming, it just seems completely contradictory. They are, in fact, still flowing, and that perhaps is the problem for many critics of Biden. But at the same time, not easy at all. Netanyahu blowing hot and cold from the American perspective on what a ceasefire would be, how permanent it would be. When are Israeli troops going to withdraw from Gaza?
And what about the Israeli perspective? And from that, I mean the people of Israel as well. How are they reacting to all of this?
A lot of the Israel as a society, yes, has moved much to the right in recent, years and decades. And yes, a lot of the Israeli public as a whole are very much for the objectives of this war, that is going after Hamas. That said, they are not. They are not by any stretch of the imagination, a lot of Israelis, in favor of the conduct of the war as waged by Benjamin Netanyahu, who is basically beholden for now to a very far-right cabinet that has made it clear that it is going for broke. It is not stopping of anything short of obliterating Hamas, an idea which for many Israelis they note time and again. Hamas is also an idea. You can't wipe it out. Even if you get it militarily, it is going to remain. There needs to be some other type of alternative solution, alternative idea. That is something Netanyahu is not offering. The hostage families, which are an extremely strong and vocal voice in Israeli society right now, and their representatives, I won't call them a lobby, but they have a very strong influence on Israeli public opinion. They are up in arms. Literally, they are furious with Netanyahu for what they see as him reneging on his moral obligation to get the hostages back. Netanyahu coming under scrutiny and pressure on all fronts, and it's perhaps not helping in general to move things forward in that bilateral U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Douglas Herbert, our international affairs editor, commentator, even here on France 24. Thank you.